and welcome back to my kitchen. It's me, Gina, and in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I am a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I like to cook meals for my family, and sometimes I film videos of the recipes and I post them here on YouTube. And today's video, we are going to be making rajas con crema, or I guess in English that just stands for strips of pepper with cream, but it is a delicious dish made from roasted Poblano chiles, onion, and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes together with sour cream and some other ingredients to make a really delicious vegetarian style taco. So I guess without further ado, we'll jump into the ingredients because I don't really have anything to add to that description. This is a super easy recipe. The hardest thing to do is toast the chiles, and then the rest of it will come together rather quickly. So what we need, what I have here is 6 Poblano peppers or chiles. These are pretty big because we like a lot of peppers in ours. So that's 6 of them. We're going to be needing about a cup of frozen corn, 1 onion, a little bit of butter, some sour cream, and I like to use pretty much only the Lala kind. It is probably the most delicious sour cream in the world. Like, I don't even really like sour cream, and I love this one. So definitely don't skimp and get Lala sour cream. Then we're also going to be adding in a little bit of mayo, a little squirt of mustard to add some acid to it. We're going to be using some Norsuisa, and again, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, Norsuisa is just powdered chicken bouillon, and this is very common in Mexican cooking. But if you don't have this, you can just go ahead and use regular table salt. And then I'm using Chihuahua cheese today, but you could use like manchego or mozzarella or cotija or whatever you really like. It would probably be best if you used something that is a melting cheese like Chihuahua, because you're trying to get that nice cheese pull effect. And that's it. Like, this is super simple. Basically, it's peppers, corn, and onions sauteed and then put in a cream sauce, and you eat that in a taco. Like, how much more flame can that get? Like, pretty much it can't. Delish. So I'm not going to do a prep. I'm going to get set up and get these chiles on my oven. I need to turn on all of the burners, and I'm probably actually going to I'm going to serve this with arroz rojo, which I actually have a video already on my channel for how I make that. So I'm going to get that started and then get these chiles toasting, and I'll be back. Okay guys, so this is a little bit dangerous for me to be filming because obviously I have all of my burners that are available on full blast, and I do have a gas range. So if you do not have a gas range, you're gonna have to like oven roast these probably under the broiler under high heat. But in our case, I'm literally just sticking them, and we're looking to blacken the entire chile everywhere. So I found it works well if you kind of like stick pieces of it into the actual flame. But please try to be careful. I will be using a set of tongs as they get hotter, and just keep rotating it around. You would think that this middle power burner works really good, but it actually kind of sucks. Like, I don't know what the deal with that is. So this is gonna take probably about 10 minutes to get everything roasted. If you're feeling ballsy, you could remove these grates and then just stick them straight into the fire. But this is the traditional way of doing it, is just straight up toasting these chiles on the fire. And then after they're done, we're gonna pull them off and put them in plastic bags and wrap it with a towel so the heat is sealed in, because we want them to continue their cooking for about 10 minutes. And that is gonna help us to loosen the skin, because we are actually going to be removing the skin that we are charring right now. If you cannot find Poblano chiles, or if you have a electric range top and you don't want to, and you don't have a broiler, I have heard that you can get the chiles roasted and peeled already in the freezer section of some grocery stores that might have like a Hispanic section. But I don't know how true that is, because I was at Tony's this week for grocery shopping, and Tony's is in an area that is populated largely by Hispanics here in the Chicagoland area, and they have like tons. They have pretty much all the different types of Hispanic products you would need. So if they don't have it, I doubt that you're gonna find it somewhere else. But if you do, go ahead and mention it down in the comments, because I'd love to have that little hack for when I don't want to be roasting and toasting like this. So give me a few minutes. I'll be back to show you what they look like before we pop them into the bags. All right, friends. So as you can see, it's really hot. I don't want to get too close. I'll come this way. These are done. The outsides are completely charred and black, and I just wanted to zoom in really quick. Shoot, my tongs were really hot. I melted them. I melted the bag. Sorry. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I wanted to show them to you what it looks like before I got them in the bag, but they are completely charred and cooked on the outside, and they're like semi-soft now, but that's why we have to put them into the bag to continue the cooking. And then some of these larger ones, I actually screwed up and unplugged that burner on accident. So we're just finishing up roasting these guys. So let me go ahead and get these ones in a bag and sealed up, and we're gonna wrap them in a tea towel. And I'll finish toasting these up, and I will show you what this looks like when it's all wrapped up in a second. But I just don't want to start my house on fire, okay? Okay, so all of our peppers are off of the burners, and they are inside of, I am just using like 2 leftover plastic shopping bags from the store, like these kind, like a jewel bag or whatever, because you're gonna toss them. Like, this is gonna get pretty messy in a minute when we're peeling off all of that charred skin. So I just have it wrapped in a clean tea towel, and I am going to set the timer for 10 minutes because my rice is done. We're gonna go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes, and then when that is off, we're gonna go ahead and remove that skin, remove the seeds and the stem, and then get them sliced into nice strips or rajas. And then I went ahead and I chopped up our onion, and I chop them in strips like this just because you'll see I had a piece of onion left over from my rice, and this I had to cut it in a different shape. So this would be if you're cutting it lengthwise, like you would be making circles of onion. This is not really good for sauces and things, or things that have sauce or soups, because this gets a little bit stringy. So I prefer to slice the onions this way, which is like, you would just cut both ends off, and then cut it in half, and then go vertically. So this would be like vertical strips of onion, and these are actually just better. They cook down and they're not so stringy. So I've got our onion chopped up off to the side, and now it's just a waiting game. Basically, we're gonna saute up our onions, add our corn, and make our sauce, and we'll be ready to go rather quickly. So give me a few, and we'll be back. Okay, so our chiles are done steaming. I just wanted to show you, unfortunately my husband has all the GoPro stuff somewhere, and I don't know, I can't really tape this thing to my head, which is unfortunate because he has the tripod. So I mean, I'm gonna have to just kind of try to explain this to you. As you can see, they're much softer and they're deflated. They're still not completely cooked. I mean, they still need to be cooked a little bit, but the skin is going to, let's see if I can balance this, slide off. There we go. Very easily. So I'm doing this directly into a plastic bag. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the skin from all of them, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the seed core and any seeds that are in the inside, and we'll be left with 6 pieces of poblano flesh that we're going to slice into strips. This smells so good already, by the way, like really, really good in here. So give me a few minutes. I'll probably just open and peel this one first so you can see how I slice it, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. Okie dokie, our peppers are all done. I went ahead and removed all of the skin, all of the stems, and the pepper cores. And I actually figured out a super easy way to get this done. Like this only took me about 5 minutes, and there's been times where it's taken me a while because it's kind of a messy job. But in any case, I didn't have the tripod, so there's no way that I could show you this time, but I will definitely make a video on how to do this, because you don't only need to know how to do it for this recipe. Pretty much most of the recipes where you're roasting chile poblano, you need to peel them like this. So anyways, this is what you end up with. And I don't know if you noticed before, I was wearing gloves, and that wasn't because of the mess. That is because I have very sensitive skin, and even though chile poblano is not known as like a super spicy chile, touching it for that long and peeling it and all the juices, it really irritates my skin and actually my eyes as well when I take my contacts out. So do whatever you want. If you want to go balls to the wall, don't wear gloves, but I wore gloves this time from experience. So this is what it's gonna look like after you remove the seeds and the skin. You just have a nice soft, meaty flesh, and the inside is clean of seeds. And if there's a couple of seeds in there, you're not gonna die. Like, it's not gonna ruin your life, so don't worry. You wanna try to remove these veins, but sometimes if you pull them, it starts ripping the pepper. So I'm just gonna leave that one there. And then for example's sake, I went ahead and sliced up these ones, how we're going to be using them. So I'm just slicing them into strips lengthwise, and then I put 2 separate cuts because we're trying to like mimic the shape and size of the onion somewhat, and we're going to be eating tacos of these. So apparently I didn't cut these very well because they're still attached, but in any case, let me go ahead and get the rest of these chopped up in a bowl, and we'll be back with our next step. I have had just a little swish of olive oil heating in this pot, whatever you want to call it. I call it a casserole pot because I don't know what the name of it is. And now we're going to put a whack of butter in there and let that get nice and foamy. And the reason you add oil to your butter when you're going to saute it in butter is because butter burns very quickly by itself. Okay, Google. Level 2. Turn on the radio a bit. So this looks about ready. So now we're going to go ahead and add our onions to the party. And we are just going to continue to saute these until they are translucent, about 3 to 5 minutes. And add a little bit of a sprinkle, probably like a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt to the onions, because anytime you're sauteing and trying to sweat something, adding salt helps it remove its moisture that much more quickly. So don't skip that step. You don't need to put pepper or anything, but that's that. And then this is what our glorious pile of rajas looks like. They're a nice texture, nice shape. I'm super excited to eat this. This is definitely a very hearty vegetarian meal. And with the cost of meat nowadays, everybody's got to do a lot of vegetarian a couple times a week. So I'll be back with the next step. Okay, so our onions have crystallized and actually caramelized a little bit, which will add nice flavor. But you wouldn't want them to get too dark, or else they're going to lend too much color to your cream sauce, which is basically just sour cream anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and start dumping in our frozen corn. Girls, are you okay? Olivia's mean. This was pretty much not frozen anymore, so I don't need to worry too much about taking the frozen off of it because it was defrosted. And then we're going to dump in our rajas. I got a new spoon. Are you guys checking this out? I don't have my short spoon. I still have the short spoon. Let's not lie. I've reduced the heat to like medium-low now because everything's pretty much cooked. So now we need to start seasoning it up. And we're going to start with Nor Suiza. I'd say probably about a teaspoon. I'm just going to sprinkle it because it's too hard for me to scoop out while I'm filming on camera. So I'll start with about a teaspoon, and then I'll probably add a little bit more or some actual salt after we start adding our cream and our mayonnaise and the rest of the ingredients. But we are going to be adding some cheese, so you don't want it to be too salty. Okay, hold tight. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Nope. Alright, the rest of it is going to come together rather quickly, and I don't have exact measurements, so I'm going to guesstimate for you. I'm saying that we're going to add about a cup of sour cream, and in case you don't know, a large spoon, a large eating spoon, if you scoop like that, each one of those is usually about a 1/4 cup. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to move this down to even a little bit lower. So now we're going to stir this in. And this is the traditional way of doing it. It's basically like this, like no mayonnaise, no mustard, but it adds a little something something. That looks pretty good for right now. Hang on, gotta open the mayonnaise. Let's rinse off the spoon. What are you taking off the counter? Whatever. We are going to be adding a big spoonful, again, about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. As you can see, this is super healthy. And then, if I had Dijon mustard, I would be using Dijon, but I don't. So I'm going to be using good old yellow Plotchman's mustard. And I'd say probably, dang it, about a teaspoon of that. Just a little jiggle. Are you okay, girls? What's wrong, Olivia? You got hurt? Why? Because you're jumping off your bed, right? Well, maybe you shouldn't do that. Alright, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit more again because it's not simmering. And it looks like we're probably going to have to add a little bit of extra sour cream. Dang, homie. That's pretty good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add our cheese now at this point. And yeah, we're gonna add a little bit more sour cream. I'm so sorry, I have to put the camera down again, guys. I'm adding probably like another 1/4 cup, maybe a little bit more, of sour cream, because those were some really big Poblano chiles. And it tasted a little bit too mayonnaisey, to be honest. There we go. Juicy, juicy. Okay. And then for the cheese, I'm just going to put a big handful to start, like this much, which is probably like 3/4 of a cup. And I'm going to again turn up the heat because we are not simmering. And then this is basically it, guys. You could add a little bit of salt. You could add a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. But this big, cheesy, creamy mess of peppers and corn, can you tell I'm excited? Is going to make some delicious tacos. So let me go ahead and call Daniel and let him know that it's actually ready, and hopefully he comes home to eat with us because he requested this. But it's a done deal, guys. This is rajas con crema a la Gina, and we'll see how he likes it. Alright, guys, so my husband is not home for dinner again, so I'm going to go ahead and just show you what it looks like. We'll see if we can get a taste test off of him depending on what time he gets home. So I have 3 tacos here, and yes, I'm going to eat those 3 tacos, and I'm not going to be ashamed, but they are single tortilla tacos. And then as you can see, it's got our delicious, creamy, cheesy rajas and queso and elote, which is corn in there, and then I've got a little bit of my rice, and that's it. So I guess I'll do a taste test, guys. No. Off camera.
No. Not here.
Oh man, guys. This is so good. The way I would describe it is, think about the comfort food level of American cheese for us in the United States. That's what this is like. It's like a Mexican macaroni and cheese with peppers instead of noodles, if that makes any sense. But I really hope you enjoyed this recipe and you give it a try yourself. If you do, come back and hit a comment and let me know what you think about the addition of the mayonnaise and the mustard in there. And if you really like this video, I'd appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. And if not, it's cool. I don't hate. But anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching my video. And if we do get a taste test from Daniel, it will be coming in 3, 2, 1.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. And good night.
Good night.